now.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are about to cast a Division One game between 2 plus 2 equals team versus Rip the Dream. So some innuendo team names here. Some of my students are to think 2 plus 2 equals 5. So hopefully that's what they're thinking in this joke. It should be a really good game. Division One is always fun to watch, and these are the guys that are trying to make it to that pro league and on the border of doing a lot of big qualifying events and stuff. So it should be a good game to watch.
I'm very excited to cast this game, and the game is going to be on Brax's Holdout.
Yeah, and Brax's Holdout does the cool thing about Brax's Holdout, it forces a lot of 4-man fights. So you kind of see some fights you normally wouldn't see in a big team comp map where you're doing 5v5 fights and a lot of rotations with 5. So these 4v4 fights with 1-on-1 on top is definitely shows a lot of people's abilities, and they're seeing what they can and can't do.
But it's also a map that can be very snowbally and one-sided if you don't get those rotations proper. Like if you get a couple picks in the beginning of the map and you get 100 to a 0 Zerg wave, you can get a lot of value with that even out of the very first one.
Yeah, and that's very true. Like this is one of those maps where if you get behind, it's really hard to catch up because you're forced every minute you're forced to jump back on those points and try to capture them. And if you don't, you're going to get penalized for it. So if you're down past if 10 and it's 10 versus 8, level 10 versus 8, you're not going to be able to secure that Zerg wave, and it's just going to get farther and farther in the enemy team's lead.
Especially if the enemy team manages to pick up a Gul'dan or a Gul'dan Ariel or a Sylvanas or some of the better combos on this map. You get behind, they are going to take advantage of those Zerg waves and just push to win.
Yeah, I completely agree. And if those are the high priority picks you see on this map. A lot of people will focus on that soul lane, like you really want. Dahaka is really good on this map. Gul'dan, like you said, is really good. Sylvanas is really good. Jaina is another powerful person on this map. So if you can secure a good top lane, Olarak is actually a hero you see picked a lot because he's just
Ragnaros.
so good at top.
Can't forget about Ragnaros.
Yeah, and I just immediately assumed Rag would be banned.
Yep, Rag ban, Sylvanas ban, and then we can get into the regular game because.
Yeah, and that's normally what you see. You do, and this is actually a map where you do still see Rexxar popping up here and there. So
yep. Fantastic solo laner, very good at soaking the lane while keeping that point held.
Yeah, and he's still a decent hero. I don't like the changes to him as much, just because it gives you a little less control over Misha. But I think it's someone that's still able to play with him can do that.
It depends on which way you look at it. You have a wider variety of commands that you can give Misha because you can click outside of her range and she will run to the edge and still stay there. You don't have to focus so much on properly clicking everywhere. But at the same time, they did get rid of some of the minuscule details that really can make her powerful. So
yeah, and so we'll see if that's something that might happen. So we will. It looks like this was scheduled as a best of 1, but both teams have agreed to do a best of 3. So we will get to see a lot more action tonight, which I'm excited for. I think this will be a really fun thing to watch. And these are people that are on the border of being able to go professional and play in those bigger tournaments. And some of them might have even probably entered HGC and stuff. So that'll be really cool to see these guys play.
Yeah, super excited. It's gonna be a really fun game to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
just looking some around. Masters and some golds or some diamonds. Not golds, diamonds, masters and diamonds. Most of the players here.
Yeah. So it'll be fun to watch some people that are at that skill level and kind of see. I expect the game to be more meta because of that skill level. So you will see that Gul'dan, you will see that Sylvanas, you will see that Jaina, maybe even Dahaka, teams that are a little more aligned with the meta.
Nope, so we do have Majesto here, Diamond with 333 games on Sylvanas, followed by 211 on Murky. So
yeah,
maybe we'll get some crazy stuff coming out.
Yeah, Murky isn't horrible on this map after the changes. Even with a little nerf to him, he's a decent person top. So it's still something they might be able to go.
Very annoying in that top lane.
Yeah, he is. I love Dahaka, and I think on this map, he is he is absolutely amazing. Like there's no one but Olarak that can really compete with him top if you're good. Falstad's okay if you're good with Falstad and you know how to counter Dahaka, but Dahaka's really good in that quick burrow down to get those engages. So I'm sure he'll be a high priority along with, like you said, Ragnaros, Sylvanas, and Gul'dan. I think those are the high priority picks on this map.
How does a Ragnaros fare against a Dahaka top? I don't.
Ragnar, he does really good. Dahaka, you have to go into W the wave, and Ragnaros, if he's Ember Smash build, I believe it's called, or Sulfur Smash, or whatever, the Ember weapon. If he goes his Q build, he can smash the wave, kill the wave, and do damage to Dahaka, and just continuously do that.
Empower Sulfuras.
Yeah, empower Sulfuras. So if he lines that up, he can just continuously Q the wave, knock the wave down while doing damage to Dahaka, because Dahaka has to be in that wave to do damage. So it's really easy for Ragnaros to push on and get pressure on Dahaka and get.
Yeah, it's also his sustain too. If he can't pressure into those waves, he's not going to get his essence stacks, and it's gonna keep you out of it. And if you're not being aggressive with Dahaka, then you're not getting the value out of him.
Yeah, and the Q gens a lot of health for Ragnaros, so if he Qs on him. So I mean, there's very rarely you won't see Ragnaros banned first on this map. He'll be one of the first 2 bans, just because he is so powerful when the Zerg waves are coming and when the Zerg waves are going and jumping on that keep. So I would completely expect him to be almost an instant ban in one of those first 2 picks. What about, is there any surprise picks you can think of, Kyle, or some picks that maybe not taken as often but are really strong on this map?
So I think Murky would be one of those, honestly, after the buff. Not one you would expect very much, maybe a Gazlo. But I feel like this is a map that if you have talented players playing it, you really have to stick with the meta. You have to have a strong 4-man and a solid solo laner. If you don't have that, you're just going to get out-rotated, you're going to get out-soaked, and there's not going to be anything you can do.
Yeah. Yeah, that is very true. So Murky is a pick. Another pick you see pop up every now and then is the Sergeant Hammer pick. And that is, if you build a comp around Sergeant Hammer can be really strong on this map. And this is one of those maps, if you have a Sergeant Hammer player that can play him well, you can take serious advantage of a Sergeant Hammer.
Yep, Sergeant Hammer in that 4-man, it gives you a lot of siege. You can hit everywhere from their front wall to that hold point, and you really don't have to move much. But there is quite a few counters to Sergeant Hammer, so you have to make sure you're picking it last. It's not something that you're showing too much, because Artanis is very much so in the meta right now, and a swap onto a hammer is a very easy pick off for a team.
Yeah, and a lot of times, and you will see another pick that you don't think you would see on this map because you want that wave clear is Chromie is a pick that's pretty good on this map. I think that if Sergeant Hammer's picked early, you just pick a Chromie, and Chromie counters Sergeant Hammer so well.
Apparently we had one team's player playing some Diablo 3 trying to get him in here right now, so
yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think Chromie is pretty good here. Doing damage to heroes is really important on this map. Keeping the wave clear is obviously priority, but every time you make one of the heroes on the opposite team have to back, that gives you 45 seconds to 60 seconds of a 4v3 in the lane, and you can take advantage of that. If you get the front wall down, if you get the well down, those little things are huge advantages on this map because you're in lane so often.
Yeah, I completely agree. And the issue, you just got to make sure that you're not giving up too much wave clear to take that, because you can get in a serious disadvantage if you're taking like Chromie and then you go with a Thrall and then you go with ETC. You get the comp that you can't clear a wave, and then the wave just is pushing up on you and you don't have a way to counter it. So if you do pick Chromie, you have to pick the ability to be able to do it too, to be able to support him.
So we are going to have 2+2 equals the team on blue and Rip the Dream as red here. Looks like we are almost ready to go.
I'm wondering if this Passionless guy is a new member of their team. He doesn't have very many games played. And just, I don't know if he's a new member of the team or if they just brought him in, or we'll see, but he just doesn't seem, as looking at the other guys' profiles, he seems like he's a little, unless there's another account he's made, a little behind on games that these other guys have played.
Yeah, but he does have a level 18 Lei Ming, and I mean she is pretty powerful on nearly every map except for this one. With the amount of time you're in the lane fighting in the minions, it's really hard to land those abilities.
Yeah, and a good team on here. If you take Li Ming, you can use the minions to your advantage, so she can't do the damage.
It also looks like he plays some Artanis and some Tyrael, so maybe he's going to be more of a off tank, which, you know, it's not always the most difficult role to play on a team, but a lot of things rely on you if you're an off tank. You gotta keep people alive.
Yeah. Let's. Yeah, a lot of time. Tanks on this map, you'll see Johanna is actually a pretty popular pick. Varian's good on this map just because of the parry now. You can get in that wave and not worry about dying. Dahaka for the top one.
But yeah, I've been really liking the Varian with the parries. He's a lot tankier than you'd think he would be once you get that level 4, especially into high burst heroes like Gul'dan or Chromie.
Looks like we're having a slight technical issue with the 5th member.
Right.
Here, 2+2. Did we figure it out?
It popped up that it was good, and now he's not.
Is it on Chair League's website or here?
In the actual game, it won't let me start it.
Should we recreate the lobby?
Maybe. No, he's gonna go ahead and restart BattleNet. Hopefully, we'll be able to get into this soon.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry for the delay, guys. We'll keep talking and giving info. If you guys got any questions or any insight, we'll be happy to address.
Congratulations on your guys' win, Robot Masters 2-0. We're sorry we couldn't cast you as well. We were looking forward to it.
Yeah, there's been some scheduling issues when teams change their schedule at the last second. We normally have to change around or drop a game, which is kind of unfortunate. Like tonight, we had another game scheduled, but they changed their schedule, so we had to drop their game. So we really enjoy casting. So if you guys in the future want to go ahead and apply, especially as early as possible, and we see that, we'll accept it. And you guys get first come, first serve before we start putting our casting out.
So always feel free to request us. If if we haven't already agreed to cast another game at that point in time, we'll 100% try our best to make it work. And we have 5 different people that cast between us, so we're pretty open to timing. So
yeah, that was weird. I guess their other member was logging in, and they had this guy backing up. They wasn't able to log it. A little interesting, All
right, it looks like everyone is ready, so we're gonna go ahead and get into the draft here.
Here we go. Once again, we have 2+2 equals team as blue and Rip the Dream as red.
Yeah, I think we'll shorten there to 2+2 and rip, so you guys can get a little quicker, so we're not announcing so much here. And we have 2+2 does have the first ban. We'll see a lot of teams go for that rag ban, or if they want to hopefully get rag, they'll ban some off meta champ, so they'll get rag or Sylvanas on this map, and we'll see what they end up choosing.
What do you think about a Lucio on this map?
He's good. I don't think he's as good because there's not as much rotation as there is in other maps. I know you can rotate top to bottom, but I don't think it's as dire to do that rotation.
Ooh, they're hovering a medic first ban.
Yeah, and this maybe that off meta ban where they know now they're either going to get Ragnaros or Sylvanas.
You think they have something in mind, a team comp that they are going for, something a little wonky? Or are they just picking something to ban so they have to either give up a Sylvanas or a Ragnaros?
I'm thinking they're picking something to ban, but Medic's also really good on this map because you're stuck in a lane, and it's easy for Medic to just kind of heal up the whole bottom 4 team and not really go doing it, especially if you go Gul'dan or something. So I think Medic's a fine ban for a healer, and that they're hoping that Ragnaros or Sylvanas, they'll get one of those 2, which they will because you can only ban one. I'm thinking they'll ban Ragnaros because Sylvanas isn't nearly as strong on this map as Ragnaros is. She is good, but she won't make or break your team like Ragnaros can.
Oh, no, I agree. I mean, Sylvanas is pushing. You have to win the shrine or you have to win the the objective first before Sylvanas really gets her power. So I mean, Ragnaros is just good defending, attacking, everything. So I definitely agree with the Ragnaros ban, and we do see the Ragnaros ban.
They're trying to make us wait and sweat a little bit, but that was just gonna happen regardless, right?
We have a first pick Zarya.
Yeah, this is actually a map Zarya is really good on because you're constantly in the waves bottom and you're getting a strong push. Like we said, Sylvanas isn't something you have to take on this map. It is good, but it's not like Infernal Shrines where you take Sylvanas and you can just win the game with it. This map, Sylvanas helps, but she's not an instant win. So Zarya, a good, strong first tank pick, especially at the higher levels. You see it happen a lot where Zarya will be done taken early.
I really like Zarya on this map because especially when you're contesting those really small choke points around the objectives, she can just stand there and be a turret. Like, she does so much damage when you're not able to quite get to her. But standing next to those walls and stuff, she can be pretty safe while being able to throw out quite a bit of damage.
Yeah, that's 100% completely true. And she gives you that extra bit of sustain too for your team on bottom. So, and she's a great bruiser to have separated if you plan on going 2 tanks with another tank soloing top. So I think her tanky bruiserness is very good for a team like that.
Yeah, I definitely think that a Dahaka would be a very good pickup with Azar.
Yeah, I completely agree. And we see ETC Tassadar come out. ETC just a really all-around solid tank. No surprise there. Tassadar is a little weird on this map. I mean, I've seen him taken. He's normally not this highly prioritized when there's such great mages out there. I would expect him to be solo top and just help to give that extra sustain later on. But it's just a surprising pick to take this early unless you have a comp in mind.
I mean, do you think there's any chance they might do a solo task with some tracer auto attackers? Just try to get maybe a fast rotation pick?
You could. You could. Zul'jin's often taken too. Zul'jin's not bad on this map because you're always forced in lane. So Tassadar might be in the light of hoping getting Zul'jin later on. So we'll see if that's something they go for.
Take Malfurion Vala. Vala, a very solid pick on this map. If you go her multi-shot build, she can clear waves pretty well. However, it does take her a few levels to get to that point. But she also does a ton of damage to the tank and a very good pick overall right now.
Yeah, and Malf is definitely the best healer besides Lucio in the meta. You take Malf, it secures you the ability for that silence. You have solid heals, good sustain. You can keep your casters up in the roots. So Malf is just a really good healer. I mean, if you know that you want a healer, you take Malf, and that's what they decided to do. We'll see if we'll see maybe a Lucio ban and just block off another healer for them, or if they're going to go something they might, think of a DPS that might be coming out. So like a Gul'dan or a Jaina or something like that. We'll see what they end up, what 3+2 ends up doing here.
I agree Malfurion being a very good healer overall, but I think that this is actually one of the maps I don't like him on as much. Just because you are sustaining for so long at a time in lanes, I really feel like the healers that don't rely on a mana source are really powerful in these. Like Ariel with a Gul'dan, you can stay in that lane forever. There is no reason for her to ever back unless she is about to die.
Yeah, and we see that Dahaka ban that we were thinking they would probably take. So Rip is literally ripping the dream from 2+2 and getting rid of Dahaka because I'm pretty sure they 2+2 wanted to go Dahaka here. And then we see this Zul'jin hover, which is what I thought we would see out of Rip the Dream. So
yeah,
2+2
that early Tassadar pick may have actually given up their strategy a little bit if the Zul'jin is what they were going for here.
Yeah, and I think Zul'jin's a fine ban when you know that there's a possibility they could go it with Tassadar. And I think that's good. And I think Dahaka is a great ban from Rip. I do believe that 2+2 wanted to get Dahaka on this and go top. I think that was a very fine ban, perfect for breaking down their strategy a little bit.
Agree. Rip banning out 2 of the most powerful solo laners. They're definitely looking to control that top lane.
Yeah, and we'll see if it's Task solo. I mean, I would assume at this point it is Task solo, but they still have 3 picks left, so we could see anything come out.
We could always see a Iron Fist Kharazim with the Tassadar. A lot of damage if you go 7-sided strike, and a lot of extra.
Yeah, you could see a Kharazim come out, and a Kharazim would be a solid pickup, and it is something that's happening more common. They don't have anything you want to cleanse, and Kharazim you normally see going cleanse nowadays. So it would surprise me a little bit if they went Kharazim. You might see something like Rhaegar, or you could even see just solo task heals, which has been a popular thing. Brightwing might make a little comeback. I would expect a high damage person here, maybe a Jaina coming out, and I don't know what the other pick would be, but Jaina seems like a solid pick here.
Gul'dan is still available.
Yeah, Gul'dan is available. I don't like Gul'dan with their team comp.
Thrall
Thrall,
Rhaegar.
Rhaegar.
So
this-
Thrall is really good at keeping those objectives, but his wave clear does lack a little bit.
Mhm. Right now, though, if he does go top solo, there's not anyone in that can beat him. So he will win a top lane against any of these heroes that 2+2 currently has, but they still have 2 picks, and one of these picks will probably be a solo laner that they want to keep top against Thrall or Tassadar. So that's something to expect. And Rhaegar is, he's one of the better healers left on the board. We do still have Lucio, which I'm surprised. Lucio Tassadar pairs really well, but Varian's still out there. Maybe they're worried about a Varian pick that will go Shield Breaker. So
I'm worried a little bit about Rip's damage. What do you think they're going to take here at the end? They're going to need someone with a high amount of burst.
I think Jaina is your best bet. I think they're going to go Jaina. And we'll see what they do on this team. Alarak and Leoric. So they have their solo laner.
Yep. Does Alarak beat Thrall?
He does. In most cases he does. But funny thing, we might see Leoric top. Which sounds weird because you have Alarak, who's one of the best solo laners, but I think Leoric top is good enough that you can do it, and Alarak brings that extra momentum with the pull-in into roots, into Vala damage. You might be able to secure some kills bot, so that might be what the Alarak pick is doing bot. Leoric is a weird pick for me at this point.
They don't really have any good Drain Hope targets on Rip side. ETC is a relatively low health tank of all the tanks that there are.
Great, and they go another melee. That is surprising. You're setting up Leoric Entombing into Alarak Silence. Like, you're setting yourself up with this team comp to jump right into what 2+2 wants. 2+2 wants to chain in from Tomb to Silence to Roots to Zarya, Expulsion, and/or Grab Bomb. Like, you're kind of playing in their hand a little bit. So we'll see if this bites Rip the Dream a little bit in the butt.
I mean, Rip's team is built to be aggressive. Everyone is going to be jumping in, but I agree. Into that Alarak, there's going to be silences that shut you down into Roots, into just Zarya having that little extra shield for the target that they're about to focus.
Yeah, and we'll see what ends up happening. They have survivability with Tassadar. The Tassadar added on, so maybe we'll see some good comps. They just went melee heavy, and it could bite them. If Mouth goes Silence, you have Mouth Silence, Alarak Silence, Entomb, Grab Bomb, or Expulsion Zone. I'd probably think an Expulsion Zone, just kind of lock them in that Entomb, and then Vala DPSing you.
Do you think Tassadar is going to be going Archon here, or you think he maybe some shield wall to try to split off their team and get some pokes?
I'm guessing Archon. On blue side, we have Mick Nolte on Zarya, Axon on Vala, Jelly Monster on Malfurion, Majesto on Leoric, and Flyest Raven on Alarak.
On red team, we have Blades on Tassadar, Aether Fog on ETC, Lival on Greymane, Nims on Rhaegar, and Zab-U-Mouth on Thrall.
Yeah, so I think that's Rival, right? Probably Rival.
Rival, yep.
Yeah, with the two. So, and we'll see. And so Thrall is top against Leoric, and Leoric top I think is the right call for what they want to do, what 2+2 wants to do right now. Trying to look if there's any weird builds.
You do see Greymane coming out with that Inner Beast cooldown on level 1 instead of the Gilnean Cocktail that you normally see nowadays.
Yeah, I think they're going straight for the dive on and kill somebody. We'll see if it pays off for them. Just some early game shenanigans. I think this early game, though, does favor 2+2. And I think they're going to have to Rip's gonna have to make sure that they're keeping the dream alive for themselves.
Alarak sitting a bit aggressive in the bottom, looking to get that silence into a pick, but there hasn't managed to be any good. Oh,
great silence by Alarak, almost getting that Tassadar. Tassadar dropping really low, able though to walk out with his temporal distortion.
Rip has to back out a bit. Tassadar is going to back, so it's going to be a 4v3 for a little bit bottom, and it looks like 2+2 is going to get a bit of a push here.
Yeah, Alarak is just snagging those silences, and this is just showing to the power of 2+2. They're able to keep putting pressure while getting the silence from Alarak.
Thrall is being aggressive towards the Leoric top, but Leoric is not able to get the Drain Hopes off.
Yeah, and we see Engage coming down here. Aether Fog is getting low. Alarak gets a good silence. He misses the silence just shortly on Greymane, but able to get him low. They're tapping quite often. I think they're getting behind here on tapping ability and the health pool, so gotta watch them. Dive
ETC
through and
going.
we got focused down on Greymane. Greymane is dropped by the silence into Root, into Zarya hitting her. So filling those shields from Zarya, and Zarya is able to put out enough damage to take out Greymane.
And 2+2 secures both the top and the bottom beacons. They're already at 28%. Thrall is on top. Leoric is not able to contest that.
And we get a slide through Zarya, cut out again, but they're focusing Zarya. They have no damage with them right now. That's not what they want to be doing, I don't think. I think they should rotate someone top and try to just get that shrine back secured.
Leo and Thrall 1v1ing top.
ETC does a slide through. We get a jump. Alarak does get a silence though. Rhaegar is down. Alarak on point. The flyest Raven is definitely showing why he is the flyest and not just the lowliest.
Beacon is already at 82% for 2+2. It looks like they are going to pick up the first beacon, and they are going to be pushing bottom with their Zerg wave. So all of this damage they're doing to this wall is going to be a huge amount of value for them.
I completely agree. I think what might need to happen is Tassadar is going to have to rotate top because they need Thrall down for that extra bit of damage because they're not getting enough damage off on their people right now.
They managed to get the front keep down before the Zerg wave even makes it there, and they're going in for a full engage.
Yeah. And you just see slowly Rip the Dream getting behind in levels, and that's with this snowbally of a stage. Once you get behind, it's going to be really hard to close that gap.
Zerg wave still at 70%. Alarak gets a good silence on the ETC, but ETC doesn't get too greedy. He manages just to back out.
And this wave might take down. This might go all the way to Fort and take it down. Level 7 is obtained, so they have to be careful here. ETC doesn't slide through, but he is getting in a bad position.
Greymane dives really deep, try to get on that Malfurion, but does not quite get the kill.
Yeah, and we see them going in, but it's going to pay for it every bit.
The silence onto Greymane immediately just deletes him.
Yeah, and this could be at least some damage on the fort, and I think it will be, unless they get another kill. They're probably going to have to back up here shortly.
Nutty on Zarya getting a little bit too deep without his shields. He is really low. They are going for this keep.
Yeah, and we'll see another silence. Great pull by Alarak. But Greymane is back now. And Valla is getting low, but Greymane is silenced. Great job by a Flyest Raven getting that silence off and the pull in to secure the Rhaegar kill and stop Greymane from securing a kill on Valla. Really good job early on by 2+2. They are doing what they need to do to push this advantage.
While that pressure was happening bottom, Leoric managed to make Thrall have to back and has got a tower down on top.
Yeah, and this is that snowballing map. If Rip the Dream doesn't, try to close up this level gap or maybe get a pick somewhere, maybe on Leoric top, they're going to fall too far behind before the next shrine spawn. They won't be 10 in time, and they're going to have to give up another shrine. So they have to try to secure 10 quickly. They need to rotate up and maybe try to get a pick on Leoric or do a full-on rotation bottom or something.
2+2 is hitting level 9 now, 2 levels ahead. They're looking to hit that level 10, picking up some camps, and they're going to abuse this lead.
Yeah.
They have a 4-man rotation up the top on Thrall. I think they're looking to pressure into this fort.
And they're counteracting, which I think this actually benefits Rip the Dream before 10, so we'll have to see if 2+2 backs out.
2+2 does not want to overextend here. They want level 10 before they fight, or Rip the Dream wants this fight right now.
And Alarak's a big part of their team, so they got to be careful about this engage.
It is a 5v4 in the top in favor of Rip the Dream. They're looking to get a pick off right here, but they're playing a little bit too passively, I think.
There's a slide through. Greymane dives in. ETC gets a good one. Leoric is focused down. And then, but ETC drops in the meantime. When Zarya's shields get to full, she starts putting out damage, and ETC drops and pays for it. Little lack of focus fire there caused some issues.
I think the choice of focusing the Leoric was wrong there. I think that they could have just burned that Zarya down, but Leoric was able to take enough damage that just Zarya did so much damage to ETC.
Yeah, I completely agree. And Alarak's able to secure bottom while that is going on and knock that down. So there will be catapults pushing bot.
And 2+2 now has level 10 with Counter-Strike, Entomb, Twilight Dream, Strafe, and Expulsion Zone. They're going to be looking to get picks. They want to end this game.
Yeah, and it's going to be hard, very hard for Rip the Dream to come back from this because of this snowballing map.
Alarak rotating up. He might get caught out. Oh, but he manages to slide himself out of the way.
Really great slide. This Alarak, I'm thoroughly impressed with his ability. He's just great movement, great momentum, and he is showing why they were waiting for him in the chat, because they wanted him in this game because he is doing some work.
2+2's beacon percentage is now up to 80%. Thrall's trying to soak to that level 10, but we have a 5v4 fight up top. Vala getting really low.
But Greymane out ahead of everybody else, and without level 10, you're not going to win those fights. We still have Tomb, Twilight Dream, and Counter-Strike up for the side of 2+2. This is going to be very dangerous for Rip. They got to be careful.
Beautiful silence on the ETC, and they do manage to pick him off. They're looking to put pressure onto this fort. There's an Entomb on Rhaegar, but Rhaegar does manage to get out.
Yeah, this another great pull by Alarak, getting the silence, getting ETC down. This is going to drop, and they're going to have both lanes pushing hard. This could be a quick game, a quick end.
Thrall needs to come back. They're looking to end this game right now. It's still half a level before 10. Rip, it just isn't going to get it.
Yeah,
we have
Rip's got to
rotating the core, just focusing.
And a good slide through down, and Greymane is caught up behind, but
the core is down
to get low, but the damage is dropping too quick.
Vala's going to end it herself, just focusing that core down.
Yeah, and that's that snowball. You can't. If you lose too quickly, if you lose that first round, you get too far behind, you're not gonna be able to catch up. And I think part of it was they didn't have a ranged assassin. Rip the Dream didn't have a ranged assassin to deal with any of that, to put out any damage. It was Greymane having to dive in to do damage and Thrall having to dive into damage. And when you have just those two people, that's gonna happen to you against a team like Zarya, Leoric, Alarak, where they can push, silence, and punish you for coming in.
Well, yeah, I mean, on that map, if you are down 2 levels when the opposing team hits level 10, there's very little you can do at that point. Like, that is pretty much a guaranteed beacon. And when you're pushing level 10 with a 100-0 Zerg wave, that is one of the hardest defenses in Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah, I can 100% completely agree. And it was I think they missed a spot in not grabbing a mage. And I think Rip, instead of taking that Thrall, that last pick, you can do Tassadar top. Tassadar will do fine against whoever he plays against. You needed to get a mage. And I think it was also a mistake just not to have that Tassadar rotate up and take that solo lane and have Thrall down. I know Thrall, you say Thrall, you're like, I want Thrall in the solo lane. But Thrall against Leoric, if Leoric can land his grasps, you're not going to be able to beat him as Thrall. And that's what happened. Tassadar, you can always get away from the grass in that case. So,
at the beginning of the game, Thrall was beating Leoric, and I think that 2+2 managed to get when 2+2 started to get the lead, they stopped thinking about who was in the top lane. Where, even if 2+2 was in the lead, keeping the calm and rotating the Tassadar up there so they could start getting some picks bottom, I definitely agree that would have been a better choice. But because Thrall was winning in the beginning, they didn't really have that mindset to think about, okay, well, should we change it now?
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And I think a big part of it too is the power of Alarak in that game. Flyest Raven, I don't know if he's, the ringer on the team or whatever, but his grabs, his pulls, his silences, everything was just so on point, and they would line up with those and they would set up kills just over and over. He even got out of danger, pushing himself, telekinesing himself away from the fight. So really good job by Flyas Raven in that match. And if I had to pick an MVP, it would 100% be Alarak in that match, and just his ability to move around.
Oh yeah, I would agree with that. Those telekinesis were on point. Silences were on point. Every time that Rip tried to engage onto their team, he was right there with the silence, just making them have to back off.
Yeah.
Especially when you hit that Greymane with a silence, that removes his cleave, and it's just scary. Like being in a Worgen right there, silence in the front line, you're gonna run away.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, and I think that what if Rip wants to come back and keep that dream alive? You got to keep running it, right? Keep running with
the puns.
So if they really want to come back into this game, and we're on shrines now, they're gonna have to take a comp that can deal with go the soul lane, but you can still rotate. So we'll see if that's what they end up